because I need to push record. Okay, folks, this is Rob Cairns with the SDM Interview Show, and today I'm talking to a friend of mine who's a Toronto police officer, works in corporate comms, their social media officer, Scott Mills, and we're going to have a quick chat about cyberbullying because it's a hot topic. How are you, Scott?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me, Rob.
You're welcome. My pleasure. So you and I have gone out and talked to youth about cyberbullying. We've taken different angles over the years. We see the landscape changing all the time. What really causes cyberbullying, in your opinion?
It's relationship issues in real life.
I would agree.
Low self-esteem on the part of the cyber bully, and oftentimes on the person being bullied too. But it really is the person that's instigating it all thinks very low of themselves, and they try and bring down others to elevate themselves.
So in reality, it's no difference in the bullying that was going on in the playground when we were younger, except it's going on the internet right now, correct?
100%. It's adults and kids and
kids and big brands too, right? To some degree.
Yeah, kids get a bad rap with the whole bullying label because there's a lot of bullying that goes on amongst adults as well, and that because our lives are so intertwined with the internet.
Yep.
The bullying behavior goes on to the internet. It basically is just another outlet for it.
I would agree with that. I mean, I think the biggest problem in this space is the medium keeps changing, right? I mean, one day it's Facebook Messenger, the next day it's WhatsApp, the next day it's Snapchat, and it goes on and it goes on. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, it's almost where the kids are, what technology, or where the adults are, and what's today's issue per se, right?
Yeah, 100%. The means changes all the time, and technology is a very fast-paced moving area, and I've always tried to advocate that it's all about talking with people to try and mitigate some of this bullying issues. It's got to do with relationships, and you have to talk with people, and you can't just throw out the baby with the bathwater. I mean, I'm talking about the internet. Can't say the internet's all bad because there's bullying that's going on there. Well, no, it's just another tool, and it's also another tool that's really important in our lives, and we're really connected with it, and it enriches our lives quite a lot.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, part of the problem with technology is I've been in the technology game probably over 31 years. And when I first started, things changed every 2 years. And then I worked in healthcare and things changed every year. And now things are changing every day. I mean, that's the biggest problem. I mean, I know in the old days, what we used to tell parents 20 years ago was take a computer and throw it in a central place in the house. And I still hear some parents doing that, but I don't believe it works anymore. And I think one of the reasons that strategy doesn't work is because we all have smartphones in our hand. We all have access to computers at the library. We all go to a friend's house. We go to a coffee shop. We go out for dinner, and so on and so forth. I mean, you can't get around Wi-Fi anywhere in the city right now, including GO Transit in a GO station, right? And what would you suggest to parents to do now to kind of curtail it a little bit if they can?
The best advice is always talk with your kids and know what's going on in their lives. Don't ask questions about technology. Ask questions about, who are you friends with? What did you do today? How are you feeling?
Bring your friends over and let us meet them, kind of thing, right? Like, I know when we were younger, my parents knew all my friends because they all hung out at the house, and and that was the difference. Right now, these parents don't know their kids. Part of it being I think we have a lot of parents working 2 jobs right now. That's part of the issue. Part of the problem being we have parents who think it's a technology problem. I don't believe it is. It's a society problem, not a technology problem, right? And part of it being we have parents who judge. I think one thing I always did when I was younger was with my son is I said to him, here it is. You come to me, we have a chat, and we have the chat with nothing on the line. So you can't be judgmental. You got to listen. So, the problem is parents judge. They all want to get involved. Why don't they just listen and hear the kids? And there doesn't have to be a heated discussion or an argument or something like that. Right?
Yeah, no, I've got 2 teenagers and a younger boy in grade school, and I just regularly try to talk with them and stay connected with their life, and share with them what's going on in my life and ask them what's going on in their life. And sometimes they tell me a little bit what's going on that might be bothering them, and just say that I'm there for them. And like taking away a kid's phone does not work in this day and age, because
no.
A phone is everything from getting directions to take the bus or the public transit, or finding a job, doing schoolwork, homework, staying connected with friends. And the vast majority of what the kids use the phone for is very positive and very good.
Yeah.
But if their mood changes and you can't figure out why, a really good question to ask is, kind of who are you chatting with online there, and what are they saying that's making you feel bad? And I think a lot of times parents neglect to really know that there is a lot of chatter and dialogue that's going on online that could impact the way that their young person feels. So it's just awareness to know to ask that question. Is, well, what did somebody say or not say to you on the phone? They could be ghosting the other person. Somebody could stop talking to them they really cared about and they thought they had a good relationship with, and all of a sudden they've stopped talking to them. So that's called ghosting, and that can cause our kids to feel as upset as somebody that's being an active, aggressive bully online.
Yeah, because they don't have the skills as young kids to be able to manage this stuff at that point, right? They don't realize this happens. I mean, now you and I, over the years, we kind of pick our battles. Like one of the battles I don't get into, bullying aside, generally as a rule until recently, is these political battles online. I stay clear of them because, frankly, all they do is cause crap as far as I'm concerned. People get upset and then the comments start and it's like, okay. And, the kids at the ages of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 haven't figured out that skill and figured out, maybe I don't need to get in this conversation, or maybe I don't need to get involved in this. And, sometimes part of the problem is they don't feel comfortable going to mom and dad. And I know when I talk to kids, I always say then, go talk to a teacher, go talk to a principal, go talk to a sport coach. I know when I was involved in sports, at least 5 times in my sports career, I had kids come to me and say, I'm being bullied on the internet. And we were able to get parents and the right people involved because some child felt enough. And the youngest one was 12 years old, Scott. So, I mean, age is not a boundary here either, is it?
No, for sure, age is... on the online bullying, issues can happen at any age.
Yeah. What would you suggest? Do you agree with that philosophy though with kids, if they don't feel comfortable going to a parent, go to somebody they trust, like anybody, pretty well?
I think it's good to go to somebody you trust, for sure. A lot of the issues are resolved and talked about amongst peers
Yeah.
as well. You don't always have to be quote unquote the rat. You can try and talk amongst your friends to try and solve the problem at that level without going to somebody as well. If if somebody's life is in danger and you're a young person or anybody for that matter, I think you have to do the right thing and talk to somebody that can take some action and some pretty immediate action to try and save somebody's life.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, we've seen cases, and we all know as kids get older, unfortunately, cyberbullying often turns into situations with pictures or videos or stupid things that go on, and even more so in cases where young romantic relationships that kids are involved in that they can't handle to start with because they're developing feelings and stuff, and they get out of hand. And we've both seen cases like that over our time, right, where there's stuff involved. And honestly, what these kids don't realize is that picture they shared, they're as guilty as the receiver often because they're under the age of majority and things like that. So, you got to be careful of that from a legal standpoint. But even more so, why even take them in the first place? Like, why? That's where you kind of got to stop it, is put the bull by the horn and sort of say, I'm not doing this, right?
Yeah, like sometimes it is what it is. There's a whole line of thought out there about sexting is to talk with your kids and teach them how to do it in a responsible way that's not going to come back and harm them. The traditional way of dealing with sexting is to say basically don't do it. So the reality is that there are a lot of active teenagers on social media and texting back and forth, and they are able to send erotic pictures of themselves. And you just have to be very, very careful with that and manage it accordingly. It all comes down to trust, just as it does in real life. Again, it's just the medium here that we're talking about.
I agree. It's the medium. The internet's not the issue. It's a tool, right? So, and I think part of it is that's just how kids communicate. And I mean, not only do you have to watch that, you have to watch like these online games like World of Warcraft. I've heard of, and I'm sure you have too, of stories of kids getting bullied in an online game in a chat or something like that, right? That happens as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for your time, Scott. How can people get a hold of you if they need to or have a question or?
Anybody can reach out to me and on my cell phone. 647-384-7371. That number's out there. As well as I work off my Gmail address most of the time. Scott Mills with 1 T at gmail.com. My real name has 2 T's. So, but the Gmail address only has 1 T. And if you want to reach out and chat at all, I'm happy to point you in the right direction or give you some advice. I've seen a lot of this type of behavior online and been involved with a lot of situations. And for the most part, don't panic. If you end up reaching out to me, my goal isn't to arrest somebody and throw them in jail or even get them in trouble with their school or their parents for that matter. My goal is to try and solve the problem. And,
it's education and trying to help somebody.
Try and get, get as few people to know about the situation as possible and get the situation under control so that the person that's feeling badly feels better. So free to reach out anytime.
Thanks again, Scott. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks, Rob.